Hey guys, this is the first video for the first Return on Time newsletter. So every week I'm going to have a video which is basically like founder talk. And so for the next few weeks, it'll basically be me. And I'll be talking about startups, entrepreneurship, and challenges like the current recession or other challenges that entrepreneurs can face over time. And so first off, we're in the middle of a recession. Recessions suck, that period, they just suck. Yet they're the absolute best time to start a business. There's so many notable companies that started during a recession that are wildly successful today. Disney, Microsoft, Airbnb, Uber, Square, Venmo, Trader Joe's, these are just a few of them. And in fact, when you look at Disney, they actually got off the ground finally in 1929, right at the start of the Great Depression. And that's super impressive, right? Because we all know and loved it. Many of us love Disney today as well. So the COVID-19 recession is the second most significant downturn in US history. It makes 2007 to 2009 look like a walk in the park, even though that was called the Great Recession. And so because of that and because of the pandemic, there's been this rapid change in trends that would have taken years to play out that are pretty much all compressed into a few months' time. Like literally in 5 months, we've seen the most rapid shifts where, brick and mortar retailers that didn't have too much of an online or e-commerce presence are filing for bankruptcy, whereas e-commerce companies are literally exploding. Everybody's at home, everybody wants to shop, we're bored, we want to do something, and so what do? We go shopping and buy all kinds of stuff. And so, that's one of the reasons why recessions are a great time to start a business, is because the trends are changing so fast that you're able to kind of capture a trend and then ride it post-recession as well. Whereas older businesses may take time to kind of shuffle themselves and understand the trend and then start going after that trend. So there's a little bit of a first mover's advantage when you're in a recession because everyone's eye is off the ball. So, if you've been itching to start a business and make your dream a reality, you should start today. Not tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow, but today. Because for every one reason that you shouldn't start a business, there's literally 10 reasons that you should. And there's one very simple reason. And that's because we're in the middle of a pandemic and there's not really a whole lot that we can do. Even if we get out a little bit here and there, we're still stuck at home way more often than we normally are. And it doesn't cost a whole lot to start a new business. It just doesn't. Maybe it did in the past, but nowadays, if you've got some unique knowledge, you could pretty much start a business for a couple $100. And in the last recession, I started my business with $200, and we did very well. And don't forget, this is a quote from the Netflix co-founder, and that is, "Nobody knows anything." And what he means by that is basically, oftentimes entrepreneurs, especially getting started, take their ideas to people they know, and those people, out of love oftentimes, are very cautious for them. But entrepreneurship is risky, and sometimes you just have to try. You have to find out if the idea works, and then you have to keep going, because oftentimes your first idea isn't the one that works, but it's rather some kind of other idea that forms off of trying the first idea that takes you there, or maybe it's the 10th one. But one of them, eventually takes you there, as long as every time you're looking at it, you're learning from what you did and getting better. And so the bottom line is basically, this is a quote from Nolan Bushnell, the co-founder of Atari. "Everyone who has taken a shower has an idea, but it's the people who get out of the shower, towel off, and do something about it that make the difference." And so now I kind of want to switch gears a little bit and talk about, one of my first challenges as an entrepreneur, which coincidentally was actually during the last recession. It was March 2007. My cousin and I were thinking about starting a business, a rewards program where basically we would partner with advertisers like Netflix and Blockbuster at the time, and they would pay us, let's say, $40 to $70 for every new user that signed up for a free trial there. And so we were sitting there and we're like, hey, let's think of the name. And we came up with the name, which was Macrobucks. I know, very unique for a macroeconomics class discussion. And by April 2007, we launched it. And May 2007, we did our first month of revenue, which was $40,000. And we were stoked. I mean, I literally walked high school graduation with a career, one that I really wanted to run with, one that I was really happy with. And, over the next few months, you really started to feel the recession coming. What you saw was, fast forward to August 2007, you'll already see advertisers pulling back. We're like, okay, well, Netflix doesn't want to pay $70 for every free trial sign up anymore. So what should we do? We ended up finding new and different advertisers, ones that were less impacted by the recession because, they didn't need all the capital to burn through, and kept going. And one of the ways that we drove our business actually was through a forum called Anything for Free. And it was a forum where there was tens of thousands of users that all had the intent of earning rewards by referring their friends to sign up for different services like Netflix and whatever else we were working with at the time. And so, we got on there. We were experts on the topic. We were users before we started our site, and we just started growing rapidly. And over time, going into 2008, we kind of saw Anything for Free start dying off, and I don't really exactly remember why, but there was a new forum called the Free Lunchroom, and the Free Lunchroom, was a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, and I guess it was laid out a little bit better, and so that started to take off, and we got in touch with the Free Lunchroom admin and founder, and he basically, hooked us up with a sub forum because, it was kind of mutual because we had a user base that was already signed up with us, and we also had some credibility. So he gave us a sub forum where users were able to find us, talk about us. We were able to talk to them. So it was our most frequent communication channel, and we literally doubled our revenue overnight. And fast forward a few months, I get an email out of nowhere. Things are going well, and it's basically a demand from that founder for $15,000. And I'm panicking because I'm like, I don't have $15,000 right now. I had already been trying to scrap all this money together just to keep my business growing and running. And oftentimes we were getting paid, let's say 30 or 60 days after the close of a month, yet we were paying out to our user base, to our customers pretty much immediately. And so, I started, just panicking. I needed to figure out how to scrap together $15,000. And I needed to do it in 10 days because after I talked to him, he basically said, if you don't do it in 10 days, you're going to get kicked off our forum. And not only that, we're going to also ban your URLs so that people can't even talk about you anymore. So overnight, I nearly lost my business. So I start rushing. I start maxing out my credit cards. I start contacting our ad partners, trying to get paid faster. I borrow money from loan sharks. They're literally giving me, a 60-day loan at 100% interest rate. And I managed to scrap together the $15,000, and I managed to pay it to them on time and keep my business going. And it was worth it for me to just make that go away for a second so that I had time to think and reorient and figure out what I needed to do next. And so from there, I kind of started to think, if this is the first time it happened, if it's so aggressive and all this stuff is happening, this is probably not the last. And, 2 months later, sure enough, he reaches back out and says, hey, we're charging you $5,000 more. And this is just, again, arbitrary numbers. It's under threat. It's not like a business discussion or anything like that. And so I'm like, okay, screw this guy. I'll just go ahead and pay it. I pay it, and then I immediately start thinking, okay, what do I need to do next? I need to start thinking of the next idea because this one isn't working out because I'm too reliant on one forum. And when I'm looking at the traffic stats for that forum, actually, it's doing okay, but it's kind of starting to decline just after like a year of being out there. So there's a few different trends that are going on, and advertisers are even more tight the deeper you get into 2008 because there's even more and more worries. And so actually from all of this was born the idea for Ads and Media, which is my current company. And while we don't do exactly what we did back then, the idea back then was, hey, okay, there's a lot of different rewards programs out there. We can basically go to the advertisers, create the relationships, supply the ads, and make sure it all works. And so that's exactly what we did. And so moral of the story is really that, when you see a trend happening, when you see a shift happening, it's really important to, notice it and then start moving to counter that trend and ride a new trend. That way you don't get caught on your back, unable to do anything about it. And that's what, entrepreneurship is all about. It's about surviving the trends and being able to actually grow beyond those trends. So anyways, that's, my first story to share with you guys, and look forward to next week. Thanks, guys.